Have you ever heard of something like this? Imagine you've got a ticket to an event, but you can't go, so you try to sell it. And not only do you not make any money, you actually lose some. And then, to top it all off, you get slapped with a massive fine, 10 times what the ticket was worth. Sounds completely backwards, right? Well, this isn't some hypothetical story. It actually happened in Taiwan.
Okay, so let's break this down. We're going to call the person in this story Mr. A. He buys a baseball ticket for 500 new Taiwan dollars. Simple enough. But then, something comes up, he can't make the game. So, he does what anyone would do. He lists it online for the exact same price, 500 bucks. No one bites. So he ends up selling it for just 350, taking a loss. And you'd think that's the end of it, right? Nope. A little while later, an official letter shows up and boom, a fine for $4,500.
And this is the central mystery we're going to unravel. The guy lost money, he wasn't some professional scalper trying to cash in, so where on earth did this huge fine come from? To figure this out, we've got to dig into the law.
So our investigation starts right here with the law itself. See, Taiwan recently passed some new, super strict anti-scalping laws, and our friend Mr. A, well, he accidentally walked right into a legal trap he never saw coming.
First off, let's be clear about what these laws are supposed to be targeting. We're talking about scalping, or 黄牛票in Mandarin. This isn't about a regular person selling one spare ticket. This is about professional outfits that use bots and other means to buy up hundreds, even thousands of tickets, just to create a fake shortage and then jack up the prices for desperate fans. That's the real enemy here.
So how do we even get to this point? Well, before 2023, the laws against scalping were pretty weak, and the big-time scalpers just laughed them off. But public anger just kept building and building until, in 2023, lawmakers finally acted. First, they passed a new law for arts and culture tickets with these gigantic fines. We're talking 10 to 50 times the ticket's price. Then people demanded the same for sports. So a few months later, they passed a nearly identical law for sports tickets, and that's the one that caught Mr. A.
And here it is. This is the phrase at the absolute heart of the problem. The law doesn't say selling for a profit. It doesn't say selling for more than you bought it for. It specifically says selling for more than the face value. That one little detail. It changes everything.
And this is where the big twist comes in. We've got a classic legal dilemma on our hands. It's this huge gap between what the lawmakers probably meant to do and what the law's text actually says. It's truly a tale of two different meanings.
So, this whole mess really comes down to how you read the law. Now, what did the lawmakers probably intend? They wanted to punish the big-time scalpers who are actually making a profit. That's the common sense view. But the authorities? They're going by the strictest, most literal reading of the text. To them, the crime isn't making a profit. It's the simple act of listing the ticket for sale above its face value. So the moment Mr. A posted his ad online, even before anyone bought it, in their eyes, he had already broken the law.
And because of that super strict interpretation, we start to see this huge hidden flaw in what was meant to be a simple good guy law. This is a perfect example of a law having some seriously unintended consequences.
You know, the source material for this explainer uses this really powerful local phrase to describe who's actually getting caught in this net. It says the law is punishing the 死老百姓, which translates to something like dead commoners. It means the ordinary, everyday people, folks who have no idea they're about to fall into a legal pitfall.
So what we have is a deeply flawed system. The law is just too blunt. Instead of catching the professional sharks, it's creating accidental criminals out of regular fans like Mr. A. And the real scalpers? They've just adapted, moving their business underground. The result is what the source calls a mobilization deviation. Basically, the law's effect in the real world is the total opposite of what it was designed to do.
There's actually a Taiwanese proverb that just perfectly sums up this kind of government overreach. It goes something like, governing streets and alleys until you're governing the cracks between people's toes. It's such a vivid way of describing rules that get so detailed and intrusive that they become just plain absurd. So, what's the verdict here? When you piece it all together, this simply worded law, the incredibly strict interpretation, and who's actually getting punished, you really have to start asking, is this system even remotely just?
Let's just look at the numbers again, because this is where it gets truly wild. The ticket's official face value was $450, but Mr. bought it for $500, which was the market price. Because he listed it for $500, which was just $50 over that face value, the law was triggered. And even though he ended up losing $150 on the whole deal, he got fined $4,500, a penalty 10 times the face value of a ticket he never even paid that price for.
And the real problem here is that the law is just rigid. It has no flexibility.
There are no exception clauses or adjustment clauses. There's no room for an official to look at Mr. A's case and use some common sense to say, okay, yeah, he technically broke the rule, but there was no bad intent, he made no money, and this fine is just ridiculous. Nope. The law is black and white. All or nothing.
$4,500. At the end of the day, that's the number that matters. A 10 times penalty for a transaction that actually lost money. All because he unknowingly violated the very specific letter of a very powerful and, you could argue, a very flawed law.
And that really leaves us with one final big question. This law was created with good intentions to protect regular fans from professional predators. But instead, it's trapping the very people it was meant to protect. So you have to ask yourself, when a law ends up punishing the innocent and letting the guilty get away, is it still a just law?